Alright, kiddos, it's time we sit down and have the talk. We may have spoken how the bees do all the pollinating, however, do you know how the birds lay their eggs? The birds of the world, or in this case the constant, play an integral part in our survival. And today sees us grounding the Wiggin beast for our own benefit. But just a heads up though, there will be no tall bird talk in this one, nor will the new puffin make an appearance. But let's get to it. The rats with wings are everywhere. But that being said, there are actual spawning constraints for some at play. Redbirds, for example, and their wintry counterpart bluebirds are actually most common in the grasslands, with crows visiting you in most all the other biomes around town. But in Don't Starve Together, we also have canaries, and these yellow birds sort of replace crow spawns when a friendly scarecrow has been built nearby, but one must also be near another biome other than the grasslands. So that is 4 bird species in total. So let's go catch 'em. If we need to trap a bird, what better than a flippin' bird trap? Duh. We will need but 3 twigs and 4 silk to craft one, and keep in mind that each trap may net 8 birds captured. I say may because there is a chance for a trap to actually break, but it is a rather rare sight. But to use a trap, it is as simple as just placing one down and waiting for the unsuspecting feathery beasts to just get themselves caught. But know that you can actually bait a trap with seeds to make the whole thing easier. So let's say you've caught 1, 2, or heck, 15 of the suckers. What do you do now? Well, murder is always an option, as I say. Murdering birds in your inventory has a chance to give a morsel or the proper feather that corresponds to the proper bird. And I'm fairly certain that the chances are the same whether or not your killing takes place via neck snapping or by other means, so it is going to be a 50-50 shot for either a feather or a morsel each kill. But speaking of other means, the boomerang. One of the few ranged weapons that is actually fun to use in this game. The boomerang has 10 uses at 27.2 damage each throw, while working exactly as you'd expect. Just wait a couple seconds for birds to land around you, and then just give it a whirl. Most characters can one-shot birds with rangs, but always remember what is coming back to you. If you get bonked in the noggin by the boomerang, it will lose 2 times the durability it would otherwise. Now that we've got all this bird loot coming in, what can we do with that too? Well, I'd recommend you invest in a feather hat first if you plan on continuing the hunt. You'll need 2 crimson feathers from redbirds, 3 jet feathers from crows, and 2 tentacle spots from the hentai that dwells within the swamp. But the feather hat not only decreases the time it takes for more birds to land around you, it simply just increases said amount of birds that can land. So, instead of only 4 birds every 5 to 15 seconds, you'll now see up to 7 birds every 2 to 10 seconds. Furthermore, the feather hat is needed to summon Giblet, one of the many critters that call the constant home. But on to feather-specific craftables, and to be honest, there ain't that much. We've talked to Sleep Dart in the past, and really, the only useful thing about it is that it gives stingers an actual use. I mean, it ain't all worthless, as putting mobs to sleep could have its benefits, but since all mobs have varying resistances and the fact that the effects are hardly permanent, sleep darts are an item that I personally wouldn't recommend, but again, to each their own. How about the saddle horn? Certainly an item less mentioned around here, and it isn't because it's useless, it's just that it literally only has one use, and that's prying a saddle off a beefalo so it doesn't lose extra durability. Yup, that's all she wrote. But if we're riding stuff, we'll need a pencil. A feather pencil. Easy to make and incredibly essential to organized players out there. Feather pencils allow you to label many signs that are in game. And whatever item is on the ground near a sign will be the item that is drawn on said sign. In addition to that, feather pencils are also needed to craft map scrolls as well. And in short, whatever your map is filled or filled not with will be copied to the scrolls, and anyone who reads it will get that copy as well. On to fire darts, yet another ranged weapon that comes from birdies. They do 0 damage initially, while instead dealing all damage via fire. that can reach up to 120 fire damage, so they could certainly find a use here and there, but be mindful of just setting nearby structures and loot aflame while doing so. I don't know about you, but it be summer where I'm at, so perhaps a summer frest is in order. The clothing provides 120 points of protection from overheating, which is definitely significantly less than most other options, but if you are desperate and do have the crimson feathers to spare, then this might be your potential lifesaver come summer. But here's a noteworthy weapon. Just the normal blow darts. You'll need an azure feather, so prepare for winter. But blow darts deal 100 damage each, making them likely the most effective ranged weapon in the game, considering how easy it is to make, especially due to how fast one could fire them if holding the attack button. But again, to each their own, but just know that you may miss on occasion. But arguably the most interesting and effective dart variant, electric darts. A saffron feather is needed, so we'll have to hunt some canaries, but the dart itself deals 90 damage at its base due to its electrical modifier. But you might be asking, how is that better than a normal blow dart then? Well, if you didn't know, weapons with electrical modifiers actually deal more damage to targets that are wet, and that jumps to 150 damage per dart. That is shocking for a simple ranged weapon. Furthermore, electric darts can and will electrify Volt Goats, and this is what leads to milk, folks. But more on goats on another time later. For now, we need to talk canaries. Again, a friendly scarecrow and a biome that is not the grasslands is needed to effectively spawn them. But even if they do, canaries have but a 5% chance to drop saffron feathers, and that is abysmal. Instead, I need you to hold the canary in the cage for about 6 to 12 minutes while Toadstool is alive. Doing so makes the bird sick, turning it into a volatile canary. Now, the choice is yours. You can either drop it in the caves to get 1 to 2 feathers and have a show of something blowing up, or actually have a heart and free the creature above and let it fly away, and it will leave you up to 6 feathers. Or just ignore all that and then actually drop it near Toadstool to put some misery in your life. Misery Toadstool is now on the map, if you even dare to attempt him. But if you do kill the newly formed Misery Toad, and you hopefully obtain the blueprint for Knapsacks, it's a weapon item that can put all mobs to sleep for 20 seconds per spawn cloud. And that is highly useful actually, especially when compared to normal sleep darts. But Knapsacks are much more involved in the crafting process. But I think it's time we stop murdering these winged beasts for our personal benefit and instead turn to enslaving them forever. The birdcage is what we'll need to do so head into the swamp once more and compile some gold and seeds to craft one. The cage holds a single bird, and as we have shown in our farming guide, feeding specific crops to a bird within a cage can net 1 to 2 plus crop seeds for said specific crops. It's how you can become a farmer who only grows pumpkins, or perhaps dragon fruit, or even durians, if you're into that. But feed a bird normal seeds that have a 33% chance to get guano, which is a fertilizer that is better than manure. Or you can feed it meat, even monster meat, and a bird will poop out an egg that can be combined with even more meat to whip up some bacon and eggs, a food item that heals for 20, nets 5 sanity gain, and fills your belly for a whopping 75 hunger. Or throw some veggies in the mix to get some pierogi, a meat item that heals for 40, 37.5 hunger, and gives 5 sanity once again. Or go a step above and make some waffles, a food that heals for 60, fills you up for 37.5, and increases sanity by 5 once again. And if that wasn't enough, one could store uncooked eggs until they spoil, and then they become rotten eggs. It's still a food item that can be eaten, although it is ill-advised. Instead, use them to create gunpowder that deals 200 damage each, and it can just make dealing with any of those big bads giving you trouble as simple as clicking a button. Some final notes: one can feed a bird seeds while it's in one's inventory to have it not go dead-zo on ya, and it makes a really funky noise while doing so too. If you're wanting to be very efficient with your time and things, you can wake up a sleeping slave, put it right back to work, feed it as quickly as possible, and get the loot that you crave even at night. there is no rest for the wicked. And Wicklebottoms can use their Birds of the World book to spawn 20 to 30 birds instantly. And if you pair this with Sleepy Time Stories or a pan flute, you can commit mass genocide. And that's what I'm talking about. This could also lead to some simple yet efficient Krampus farms, by the way, but we will discuss Krampus and said farms at another time. But there you have it, everyone. A guide on the beasts that fly and how we can choose to murder them all or enslave the many for our ultimate benefits. Birds themselves may appear poor, but with the right know-how, they can help you soar. Thanks for watching, everyone. Well wishes to all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.